Hi guys, welcome back to this Model Engineers Workshop. Today in the workshop, the front and rear brake beams. I can't think of anything else to add to that, so come on, let's go. Hi guys, I'm the chef. Today, the front and the rear buffer beams. I've already got the material cut, there's no point in me just showing you that too many times. I'm changing the design slightly. The design calls for a piece of 12.5 13mm bar with a little pin turned on each end for drilling and cross drilling, and then a piece of 16x5 welded onto the side of each one. So that would be two pieces with a round bar and a piece welded on. So if you look at it from the end, it would almost look like a keyhole. Right, well, you guys have seen my welding, so I'm going to change the design. It's not going to make any difference. If anything, it'll probably make this actually might even be slightly stronger. I don't know, probably not. So this is 32x5 steel, but flat bar steel. Front one slightly longer than the rear one, 194, 187. I just had these on the power hacksaw, and I just went across the belt linisher so you can see it. There we go. I do like this. I do like to just kind of knock any burrs off before we even get started. Nothing worse than catching yourself or ending up with a splinter in your finger that goes sour after a week or two, and you end up with a funny little pimple with a rusty brown spot in the middle of it. How do I know that one? Yeah, I've had too many of them. Right, so as you can see, I've kind of put some rough markings on here for myself just to remind me what I've got to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to get these down to the required lengths. We're then going to mark them up properly. So I want a 45-degree cut on each corner, leaving a 12mm flat on each end, because into the ends of these I'll say these are 32x5. There's going to be a hole drilled and tapped M4 for a shouldered bolt to go in. Being a shouldered bolt, the thread will go in and there'll be a nice clean shoulder for the brake shoe hangers to work on. The bolts will be getting here in a few days because I've already ordered those. But in the meantime, we can get these made, and by the time I finish this video, the bolts will have arrived, and I'll get them in and we can get them in place on the loco frames, which are upside down. Of course, still are. As you can see, these are the brake shoe hangers we made in the last video. I've just got the bolts tightened up ridiculously tight so they don't flop around. And we'll be able to get the beams across so you can see what they are meant to be doing. Right, so I'll get set up in the machine vise on the mill. We're literally just going to clean enough off these ends to tidy them up and then get them down to the lengths required. And then we've got to mark out both of them and set up ready for chamfering off the corners. All right, guys, I'll be back in a tick. I'll just get set up on the mill. Right, now set up in the mill. So what I've got one of the pieces of steel here, got a packing piece underneath just to lift it up, and I'm just going to start the machine up and touch off. I need to take off the minimum I can. This one I've managed to cut literally, I think I've got about 1 mil to play with, but I'm going to clean up one end very lightly, and then when I flip it around I can get it to the right length. 194 this one's going to be. So might get a bit noisy, as I always say. Doesn't do too bad, I don't think. So I'm going to touch off and then just go backwards and forwards a couple of times. It's only 5mm thick. Probably do it in 2, maybe 3 cuts. Probably 3. Okay, here goes. There's touch off. Yeah, that cut goes all the way across now. Yep. There we go. That's one end cleaned up all the way across. Right. I'm going to go off camera, get the other. I've got this end to do, and then the other piece, which is still on the bench, get this to 194, get that one to 187, and then I'll bring it back. Okay, guys. Right guys, so got all four ends cleaned up, the two pieces to length, this one 194, that one 187, and just so you can see what the idea is, I've just marked up the two ends. I just want to knock those corners off, nothing too serious. And then once they're gone, we're just going to have a little flat here on each end, which in the middle of, we're going to put an M4 hole so that we can tap that and then put the little shouldered bolt in that are on the little bolts in that are on their way in the post. Right, so I'm going to mark up this one there. And what's going to be the order of operations? Maybe I should put this into the vise first and then drill first rather than shaping it. I'll have a think. Anyway, either we're going to be taking the corners off or we're going to be drilling and tapping some holes. All right, guys, back in a bit. Right, so I've decided we're going to drill and tap the holes first before we do any shaping, because it will give a flatter surface for everything to sit on. Right, so I'm in the vise. These are quite long parts, so I'm just going to move the tripod so you can see what's going on. Actually, no, I don't need to move the tripod. I think I can just zoom out. I've got you on a bit of a zoom. Yep, there we go. Machine vise here, two big steel blocks, a bit of junk. This one is acting as a spacer to keep them parallel, keep them so they don't go at funny angles. This is now clamped nice and tight. As you can see, it's on the outside of the vise, and I've set it at 90 degrees to the table, so it's as vertical as I can get it, which is close enough. I've now got the center drill in the drill chuck. Zoom it back in. Oops, let's try that again. There we go. Okay, so there we go. We're going to come down. As you can see, it's going to be off. It's not actually on the. It's on the center, front to back, but it's only 9 mm from this end. So I've done that with the edge finder, and it's all lined up. I'm going to center drill, tap, then I'll flip it, rotate it so that the 9 mm is always going to be at this edge. And once I've done that, I'll make sure it's set up vertical again, and I'll do the other end and this end and that end. Where is it? Down there, in there, and then I'll get back to you and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, here we go. Right, I'll just change over to the tap and get that started, and I'll get back to you. So the tap is now in the drill chuck. Some tapping compound in the hole and on the tap itself. I'm not going to do this under power. I'm just going to start it off, and then I'll be flipping it over to just get the other hole drilled and started. And then once it's done, I'll finish this in the vise with a tap wrench. So I'm just going to get it down to the hole like that. And I'm going to start twisting, get it to make a few rounds. Yeah, I can tell we're cutting because it doesn't want to spring back up. I will just break the chips. There we go. Right, now I'm going to take that back out, clean it down, flip the piece end for end, and tap the other end the same, and then finish it off in the bench vise with a tap wrench. So when I get to that point, I'll get you back. Okay, so this is the setup. Piece in the vise, soft jaws, because I don't want to mark it. I only have to take out the vice jaw marks otherwise. Small tap wrench, M4 tap, bit of tapping compound. I've just put a bit of 1 turn on there just so you can see there is actually a thread in there. I can't lift it out. And it's, as before, it's half a turn forwards and half a turn back, half a turn, then catch up and backwards and forwards, backwards. So you don't want the chips forming a blockage. That's it. And then we just go round and back, round and back. Of course, I'm just feeling for any resistance, which could be chips in the hole, or it could be I've reached the bottom of the hole. There we go, it's getting there. We're still cutting nicely. There we go, doing nicely. I can feel it. Yeah. Getting close, getting close. We might be going full tap depth on this one. Oh yeah, there we go. That's it. I can feel we're at the bottom. Right, so we'll spin that out. Make sure you don't do anything silly to the tap. Just give it some support. Whip that out. Get an oily rag, which I have many. Quick wipe down. Clean that off. Put that down. Oily rag back where it belongs. Just to verify there is a thread in there. This is just an ordinary M4 bolt, hex head. There we go. Yep, nice and tight. That's quite tight actually. Let's have a look. Which spanner would I need for that? No, that's way too big. Let's go down a couple. Let's try that one. Nope, too small. Back one. So, oh yeah, that's nice. Oh, will do nicely, as you can see. No wobble in there at all. Right, 3 more of those to do, and then we've got to start taking off some corners. Okay, back soon. Okay, so all 4 holes are now drilled and tapped and ready to go. I've got this piece of steel now set up in the mill vise. This is at 45 degrees according to the inclinometer app on the phone. It won't be dead accurate, but it doesn't have to be. This is just the brake mechanism underneath. The important thing is the length and the kind of the strength of the thing. And these are only brakes used to hold the loco still, not actually to stop the train. They're in the tender with me when I'm riding on it. So, same system as yesterday. I'm just going to touch off, come down, go across, come down, go across, come down, go till I get to my line just there. So, all being well, if my marking up was any good, that line will just disappear, or just half it will disappear once I get to the bottom of that. But it's only there as an indicator anyway. So, I'll do the first cut, touch off on first cut, and then once I've done that, I'll drop out, do the rest off camera. I've got 8 corners to go, so you don't really want to be seeing this. This is the same as I did in the last video with the brake shoe hangers. Right, here we go. A little bit too fast. That'll do. Let's have a listen. Oh, there's touch off. So, move the table away. Let's go to a convenient marker. There we go. And up we go. Okay, that'll do. You get the idea. I'll get the other corners done and then I'll bring you back. Okay, guys. So now all the 8 angles have been machined off, and I'll just give them a quick deburr just to save my fingers. To finish this piece, yep, we've even got the holes in the ends all tapped up nicely. To finish this piece, we just got to drill 2 holes for 2 connecting beams. So this goes from the front axle and connects to the back axle beam. That beam then connects to the brake rod that brake cross beam that we made a couple of videos ago, or the last video. And then it goes up through the floor of the cab and goes to the actual brake handle. This is only the loco brake. They're not really meant to stop the loco rolling. They're a parking brake more than anything. So now we need to drill 2 holes, 8mm in, 90mm apart, and they're both 52 in from the end. Now, of course, you've got no really easy reference surface on that at the moment. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this wonderful tool, a marking gauge. I'm just going to make a little mark here, this is set at 52, and get the trusty scriber and my square, and I'm going to transfer that across to the other side, the other edge. There we go. And now we need to just reset this for 8mm, which is there, and we'll tighten that up, and then we'll come along this edge and just make a little mark. There we go. Yep, nice and clear, you can see that. Yep. Now, of course, again, having no real edge and my mill vise being on 100mm, that puts the second hole here out over free space in the hanging out the mill, which I don't want to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to use one of these today, because I would normally just edge this up with the butt of the square with the corner of the vise, which I know is on 0 in both directions, and then just use the DRO and go along 52 in this case, and then 90. But as I say, this hole's then going to be over fresh air. So today we're going to use a wonderful thing called a wiggler. Got a little bit of point on it, I don't know. Yes, you can just about see that. This, you can see it's got a little bit it's got a bend in it, it's got a ball joint. So this then goes in the drill chuck, and you tap it down. I use the little wooden handle on the chip brush until it runs square, so it runs true. And then we line that up with the mark we've just made there, and then we know we're exactly in the center of the mill spindle. Drill that hole, so center drill, 4mm drill, 6mm drill. Then we can actually then use the DRO, skit along 90. We don't need to worry about any of the dimensions, the mill will work it out for us. And we can then drill the second hole. So right, so I'll just pause now, get all this into the mill vise and this into the drill chuck, and I'll bring you back at that and show you what's going on. Okay, so now we're set up in the mill vise, and I've got the wiggler there in the drill chuck. I'm going to turn the machine on, and you'll just see me just gently holding this until it runs true, and then I'll just use the table and get this get the wiggler onto the mark, and then I'll bring you back. There we go. Easy as that. That's as close as it needs to be. The drawings give me a tolerance of 0.2mm, so I am well within that range. Probably within about 5 thou. So close enough. It's only for a brake linkage. It's not as if it's the valve gear. Right, guys, so I'm going to stop the video there. Drill, as I say, center drill, 4mm drill. And so what we're going to have. It's all here at the side. Center drill, 4mm drill, 6mm drill. Use the DRO, skit along 90, and drill the second hole, deburr them, and then I'll bring you back. And that's pretty much going to be the end of this video for today. All right, back in a tick. Okay, so there we go. 2 more bits made. All the holes drilled and tapped in the ends, shaped up so that they're not going to snag on anything. One slot shorter than the other because one's the front, one's the rear. Got the holes drilled in them for the connections. Nice and tidy, you can see that they line up. Quick demonstration on how to use a wiggler. Introduced a tool I've had in the workshop for a long time, a marking gauge. Saves you taking the... A lot of people actually just use the tips of their vernier gauge. Not advisable. These aren't really hardened and they will eventually wear out. Depends how much you use it, of course. This has actually got a carbide little scraper there, which I can regrind as necessary, move down, and when it came with a spare one as well. This is a little roller, so it just actually does make life easy. Nice little tool, didn't cost me very much. A couple of years ago, somewhere online, I believe. If anybody's interested, I could dig it out, let you know where I got it from. Okay, right. These two bits now, as I say, front, rear. They have a connection here and here. This one also then connects backwards to the brake shaft that goes across the loco, and then that goes up through to the cab floor where there's the little traditional kind of windy handle for the locomotive brake. Right, I'll pause it there, guys. Right, guys, two more bits made. A couple of big chunky ones this time. Nice big chunks of steel. Really moving on. So I'll call this video to a close. Say as I always do, if you can find it in your heart and soul to give me a like, a subscribe, hit the bell, maybe even send me a comment. I'll try and do my best to answer them. I normally get round to doing them. All right, guys, this is the chef signing out, and I'll see you next time.